July 14, 2013. A cloudless night descended over Chavez County, New Mexico. Special Agent Daniel Harmon, a 15-year veteran of the FBI's Unexplained Phenomena Division, had just completed his third day investigating unusual radiation readings near the infamous 1947 Roswell crash site. His temporary office at the Roswell field station still contained his half-finished coffee, case notes meticulously organized in 3 separate folders, and a voice recorder capturing his final known thoughts. The readings are inconsistent with any known terrestrial radiation pattern, his voice echoed on the recovered tape. Something about the isotope degradation suggests. The recording abruptly ends. By 7:30 a.m. the following morning, Special Agent Margaret Chen, Harmon's partner, reported him missing after he failed to attend their scheduled 6 a.m. briefing. His government-issued vehicle was found precisely parked in his designated spot at the Corona Motor Lodge. His room was undisturbed. Bed made, shower dry, toothbrush still in its travel case. His service weapon remained in the room safe. His phone, wallet, and FBI credentials were found on the nightstand. Most curiously, the window was wide open despite the room's functioning air conditioning, and 3 distinct burn marks formed a perfect equilateral triangle on the windowsill, each exactly 4.7 inches apart. Daniel was methodical to a fault, Chen later testified. He wasn't the type to wander off, especially during an active investigation, and he certainly wouldn't have abandoned his service weapon or credentials. What began as a routine missing persons case would evolve into one of the most classified and disturbing investigations in FBI history, one that would remain buried until a stunning discovery 12 years later would force the truth into the light. The initial search operation mobilized substantial resources. Within 24 hours, over 70 law enforcement personnel from multiple agencies converged on Roswell. FBI Director Thomas Reynolds personally authorized the deployment of the Bureau's Critical Incident Response Group, an unusual step for a single missing agent without clear evidence of foul play. The search area initially focused on a 5-mile radius surrounding the Corona Motor Lodge, then expanded to include the original 1947 crash site where Harmon had been conducting his final investigation. Search dogs exhibited unusual behavior near Foster Ranch, the site of the alleged UFO debris field. According to K-9 handler officer James Martinez, the dogs would approach a specific area roughly 300 yards north of the main debris field, then abruptly stop, whimper, and refuse to proceed further. 3 separate dogs demonstrated identical behavior at precisely the same location. Subsequent soil analysis revealed trace elements of an unidentified metallic alloy containing isotopes not consistent with the periodic table of elements. Meanwhile, Agent Chen accessed Harmon's case files and discovered a pattern of investigations stretching back 2 years. Daniel had been tracking a series of anomalous radiation signatures across the southwestern United States, Chen reported. He believed they formed a communication pattern of some kind. The official investigation initially pursued 3 theories: voluntary disappearance, criminal abduction, or accidental death in the remote desert terrain. Local authorities suggested Harmon might have become disoriented while conducting nighttime field research. FBI behavioral analysts ruled out suicide based on Harmon's psychological profile and recent performance evaluations. Agent Harmon was a decorated veteran with an impeccable record, stated FBI Deputy Director Caroline Foster. He was recently recommended for promotion and had just purchased a home in Virginia. There were no indicators of personal or professional distress. What investigators couldn't explain were the triangular burn patterns found in Harmon's hotel room, burn patterns that would later match similar markings found at other disappearance sites. By day 7, the investigation took an unexpected turn when technicians analyzing Harmon's laptop discovered encrypted files hidden within seemingly ordinary field reports. Agent Chen obtained authorization to decrypt the files, revealing hundreds of documented cases of unexplained phenomena spanning 5 decades, many never officially acknowledged by the Bureau. Daniel had compiled a comprehensive database correlating atmospheric disturbances, radiation anomalies, and reported disappearances dating back to 1947, Chen explained during a classified briefing. He identified a 72-hour cycle of activity that peaked every 13 months. More disturbing was Harmon's final entry, dated just hours before his disappearance. "They're not communicating with us. They're measuring us, preparing for something. The radiation isn't a byproduct, it's a tool. Meanwhile, the physical search intensified. Ground-penetrating radar detected an unusual cavity approximately 20 feet below the site where the search dogs had refused to proceed. Authorization for excavation required approval from multiple agencies, creating bureaucratic delays that frustrated field agents. Local residents reported unusual atmospheric conditions on the night of Harmon's disappearance. "The sky had this strange purple hue around midnight," stated Corona resident Elaine Wilcox. "My satellite TV went out, and all our digital clocks reset to 12 Baulau. Even my dog was acting strange, staring at the ceiling and whimpering." Similar electronic disturbances were reported by 12 other witnesses within a 20-mile radius. Cell phone service was disrupted for approximately 17 minutes, and a local weather station recorded a brief but intense magnetic anomaly at 11:47 p.m., precisely when Harmon's hotel room keycard registered its final use. When investigators examined security footage from surrounding businesses, they discovered a 12-minute gap in all recordings, a simultaneous failure across unconnected systems manufactured by different companies using different technologies. Something had affected all electronic devices simultaneously. Before we continue with the shocking developments in the Harmon investigation, if you're fascinated by the hidden truths behind cases like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We investigate the cases the mainstream media won't touch, and you definitely don't want to miss our upcoming analysis of classified documents recently released through FOIA requests. Hit that subscribe button now. 3 weeks after Harmon's disappearance, the FBI officially reclassified the case from missing person to suspected homicide, though no body had been recovered. This administrative designation allowed for expanded investigative authorities and resources. Privately, however, senior officials acknowledged they were dealing with something outside standard protocols. The excavation at Foster Ranch finally began on August 7, 2013. At a depth of 22 feet, technicians discovered a spherical chamber approximately 9 feet in diameter. The walls appeared to be composed of an unknown material that absorbed light rather than reflecting it. Most unusual was the temperature within the chamber, a constant 63.7 degrees Fahrenheit regardless of external conditions, with zero humidity. Inside the chamber, investigators found a single item, a polished black disc approximately 4 inches in diameter with no visible markings. When exposed to ultraviolet light, however, the disc revealed intricate geometric patterns that matched the encrypted symbols found in Harmon's research files. The statistical probability of this correlation occurring randomly is effectively zero, stated Dr. Eleanor Chambers, the Bureau's chief forensic analyst. Whatever Agent Harmon was investigating, he found it, or it found him. Laboratory analysis of the disc revealed nothing about its composition or purpose. Mass spectrometry failed to identify its elemental structure. It generated no radiation, no magnetic field, and no detectable energy signature. Yet when placed in proximity to certain electronic devices, it caused unusual malfunctions. Digital displays showing impossible sequences, batteries draining instantly, or in one documented case, a laboratory computer displaying text that hadn't been typed by any personnel. The most significant breakthrough came when Agent Chen discovered a pattern in Harmon's personal notes, geographical coordinates marking locations across North America. Each set of coordinates corresponded to reported disappearances dating back to 1947. Each occurring during the 72-hour window Harmon had identified in his research. The FBI established Task Force Epsilon in September 2013, a classified unit dedicated to investigating the Harmon disappearance and its connections to similar cases. Operating from a secure facility in Quantico, the 12-person team included specialists in various scientific disciplines, behavioral analysis, and cryptography. What we initially viewed as a single missing person case has evolved into something far more complex, stated Assistant Director James Kelleher, who supervised the operation. We're seeing evidence of a pattern that spans decades. The task force mapped the geographical coordinates from Harmon's notes, revealing an unmistakable geometric pattern across the North American continent. When projected onto a three-dimensional model of the Earth, the points formed a perfect dodecahedron, a geometric impossibility given the planet's irregular surface. This isn't random, noted Dr. Maya Patel, the task force's theoretical physicist. These locations have been selected with mathematical precision that exceeds our current computational capabilities. Each point maintains exact geometric relationships with every other point, accounting for the Earth's curvature, tectonic movement, and gravitational anomalies. Meanwhile, analysis of soil samples from Foster Ranch revealed trace particles of an exotic matter that demonstrated properties inconsistent with known physics. Under certain conditions, these particles appeared to temporarily exist in two states simultaneously, a quantum behavior not previously observed in particles of that size. By January 2014, the investigation hit a bureaucratic wall. Task Force Epsilon's findings were deemed too sensitive for standard classification, and the operation was formally terminated. All evidence, including the black disk and soil samples, was transferred to a specialized facility within Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Agent Chen was reassigned to the FBI's Denver field office, and all team members signed enhanced non-disclosure agreements. Officially, Daniel Harmon was now listed as missing, presumed deceased, and his case file was sealed under national security provisions. His family received standard death benefits, though no body was ever recovered. For years, the investigation remained dormant. Occasional FOIA requests were summarily denied, and former task force members maintained their silence. The truth about what happened in Roswell seemed destined to remain buried. The case might have remained closed forever, if not for an unlikely series of events beginning in December 2023. Catherine Harmon, Daniel's younger sister and a digital forensics expert with the NSA, initiated her own investigation after receiving an anonymous package containing a thumb drive and a handwritten note. Daniel found them. Now they're looking for this. The thumb drive contained a single file, a complex encryption algorithm that Catherine recognized as a modified version of a protocol her brother had developed years earlier. Using personal knowledge only she would possess, Catherine decrypted the file to reveal a detailed map of underground facilities throughout the southwestern United States, each marked with dates spanning from 1947 to 2013. Daniel had discovered a network of locations where the government had been storing and researching materials of non-terrestrial origin. Catherine later testified to a closed congressional committee. He believed these materials were actively communicating with an external source, and that the radiation signatures he measured were a form of quantum entanglement, allowing instantaneous communication across vast distances. Catherine's investigation led her to Dr. Thomas Whitman, a former physicist with the Department of Energy who had worked briefly with Task Force Epsilon. Though initially reluctant to speak, Whitman eventually confirmed that the black disk found at Foster Ranch had demonstrated unexplainable properties. The object appeared inert under most testing conditions, Whitman explained. However, when exposed to specific electromagnetic frequencies, it would affect the probability distribution of quantum events in its vicinity. In layman's terms, it could influence random processes, making the statistically unlikely become virtually certain. Whitman theorized that the disk was part of a larger system, a network of similar objects placed at precise locations to create a continental-scale detection grid. These aren't weapons or communication devices in any conventional sense, he stated. They're measuring instruments, collecting data about our civilization, our technology, and possibly our cognitive capabilities. Catherine Harmon methodically traced the chain of custody for the black disk, discovering it had been transferred between 17 different classified facilities over 10 years, with each transfer coinciding with unexplained electronic malfunctions at the receiving installation. Catherine's investigation gained unexpected momentum in March 2025, when Dr. Eleanor Chambers, the former FBI forensic analyst who had originally examined the disk, contacted her through secure channels. Chambers, now working in the private sector, revealed that she had secretly maintained copies of certain test results that had been purged from official records. The disk wasn't just responding to our tests, Chambers explained. It was learning from them. Each time we exposed it to a new stimulus, its response pattern would evolve. By the time it was transferred to Wright-Patterson, it had developed what I can only describe as a rudimentary intelligence, a capacity to anticipate our testing protocols. Chambers provided Catherine with spectrographic analyses, showing that the disk's molecular structure had subtly reconfigured itself over time, reorganizing its atomic lattice in patterns that mirrored the mathematical equations used to analyze it. It was reflecting our scientific methodology back to us, like a mirror showing us our own cognitive processes. Meanwhile, Catherine had been tracking unusual personnel movements within certain government agencies. 7 former members of Task Force Epsilon had been reassigned to positions at various scientific facilities over the past decade, each transfer coinciding with unexplained equipment malfunctions similar to those documented during the original Harmon investigation. Through carefully cultivated sources, Catherine obtained partial surveillance footage from a secure storage facility at Wright-Patterson. The timestamp showed January 17, 2025, almost 12 years to the day after her brother's disappearance. The footage showed 2 military personnel removing a secure container from a biometric vault. As they placed the container on an examination table, all electronic systems in the facility temporarily malfunctioned, including the surveillance system. When the recording resumed 43 seconds later, the container was open and empty. Both military personnel appeared disoriented, with no recollection of what had transpired during the missing seconds. Subsequent security sweeps confirmed that the black disk was missing, though no breach of the facility's perimeter was detected. The object wasn't stolen in any conventional sense, theorized Dr. Whitman. The evidence suggested activated some kind of self-preservation protocol when they attempted to transfer it to a new containment system. 4 days after the disk's disappearance, a series of identical electronic malfunctions were reported at facilities along a straight line extending northeast from Wright-Patterson, as if the object were traveling under its own power or being transported by means undetectable to conventional security systems. On April 3, 2025, Catherine Harmon received another anonymous package, this one containing a single key and GPS coordinates leading to an abandoned weather station in rural Maine. Following strict operational security protocols, she arranged to meet Dr. Chambers at the location. What they discovered inside the weather station would shatter the official narrative surrounding Daniel Harmon's disappearance. Hidden beneath a false floor was a reinforced case containing Daniel's personal journal, with entries dated up to March 2025, nearly 12 years after he had vanished. The journal documented an extraordinary account. According to Daniel's writings, he had been transported to a facility not constructed by human hands, where he encountered non-human entities conducting what appeared to be anthropological research on human subjects. These entities communicated not through language but through direct cognitive impressions, complex concepts transferred instantaneously to the human mind. They don't understand us any better than we understand them, Daniel wrote. They're studying our response to their presence, our cognitive and technological development, our capacity to recognize patterns beyond our sensory limitations. This isn't an invasion or first contact. It's a longitudinal research study that began in 1947. Daniel's journal detailed how these entities had monitored human technological development through quantum entanglement devices, the black disks, placed at mathematically significant locations. These devices served as both data collection points and potential communication nodes for direct interaction. Most significantly, Daniel claimed the entities had released him and several other research subjects after determining that direct observation was contaminating their data. They don't want to interfere with our natural development, he wrote. They're studying multiple civilizations simultaneously, comparing evolutionary paths. Direct interaction skews their results. The journal's final pages contained precise technical specifications for a device that could detect the quantum signatures of the monitoring network, essentially a method for locating all remaining black disks. Catherine and Dr. Chambers verified the journal's authenticity through handwriting analysis and personal details only Daniel could have known. They also confirmed that 5 other individuals reported missing between 1982 and 2013 had mysteriously reappeared in remote locations over the past 6 months, though none retained clear memories of their experiences. The revelation of Daniel Harmon's journal created a crisis within certain government agencies. After verifying its authenticity, Catherine approached Congressman William Stanton, chair of the House Intelligence Committee, who initiated a classified hearing on May 12, 2025. During this hearing, previously sealed documents revealed that the U.S. government had been aware of non-human intelligence monitoring activity since at least 1947. Project Blue Book, officially terminated in 1969, had continued under various code names, collecting data on these monitoring activities while publicly denying their existence. The policy of denial was implemented not to mislead the American public, testified former Secretary of Defense Richard Holloway, but because we simply didn't understand what we were dealing with. These aren't visitors in the conventional sense. They're more like field researchers studying multiple civilizations across vast distances through technological means beyond our comprehension. The black disk recovered from Foster Ranch was just one of 17 similar objects discovered since 1947. Each had demonstrated identical properties, and each was linked to disappearances similar to Daniel Harmon's. Most disturbing was the realization that the disks appeared to be increasing their activity in recent years, suggesting that whatever observational study was underway might be entering a new phase. Catherine Harmon, working with Dr. Chambers and a small team of trusted scientists, developed a detection system based on her brother's specifications. On June 3, 2025, they activated this system and immediately detected 37 distinct quantum signatures across North America, far more than previously documented. When mapped, these signatures revealed a geometric pattern of extraordinary mathematical precision, a multi-dimensional lattice that appeared to function as both an observational network and a communication system. Each node in this lattice corresponded to significant human technological achievements over the past century. They've been watching us reach specific developmental milestones, Dr. Chambers explained during the classified hearing. Nuclear technology, space exploration, digital computing, artificial intelligence, quantum computing. Each advancement activated a new monitoring node in their network. The classified hearing also revealed the existence of Operation Looking Glass, a black-budget program established in 1985 specifically to reverse engineer quantum entanglement technologies based on recovered artifacts. Dr. Lawrence Mitchell, former head of the program, testified that despite decades of work, human scientists had barely begun to understand the fundamental principles involved. "We're like medieval alchemists trying to comprehend modern chemistry," Mitchell explained. "The technology operates on principles that contradict our current understanding of physics. We've made progress in detecting and partially mapping these quantum signatures, but replicating the technology remains beyond our capabilities." The detection system developed by Catherine's team represented the first significant breakthrough in tracking the observation network. Analysis of temporal data indicated that the monitoring activity followed distinct patterns that aligned with major scientific publications, technological patents, and public demonstrations of new technologies, suggesting the entities were particularly focused on how knowledge disseminates through human society. They appear to be studying not just what we create, but how ideas move through our civilization, noted Dr. Eliza Wong, a cognitive anthropologist consulted during the investigation. The monitoring nodes activate in sequences that track information flow through scientific communities, government agencies, private industry, and public awareness. They're mapping our collective intelligence as a species. Most significantly, the detection system revealed that the black disk from Foster Ranch had reappeared in a secure storage facility within FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. Security footage showed no indication of how it had been transported there. It simply appeared in a location where it would inevitably be discovered. On July 14, 2025, exactly 12 years after Daniel Harmon's disappearance, Catherine received a text message from an unknown number containing only geographic coordinates. These led to a remote area in the Adirondack Mountains where she found her brother waiting. Daniel Harmon appeared physically unchanged since 2013, with no signs of aging. Medical examinations revealed unusual neurological patterns and trace elements of the same exotic particles found at Foster Ranch. His DNA showed subtle modifications to non-coding regions, changes that appeared to enhance certain cognitive functions while altering his perception of time. "I experienced approximately 14 months of subjective time," Daniel explained during a debriefing. "They exist partially outside our conventional space-time. What appears as 12 years to you felt like just over a year to me." Under hypnotic regression conducted by specialized FBI psychologists, Daniel revealed fragmentary memories of translucent, crystalline structures that seemed to shift and reconfigure based on his thought patterns. "They communicated through mathematical concepts rather than language," he explained. "Their entire civilization is built on quantum principles we're only beginning to understand. They can observe multiple timelines simultaneously, analyzing probability outcomes across civilizations." Daniel described being housed in what appeared to be a carefully constructed replica of various human environments, from suburban homes to laboratory settings, where his reactions to subtle stimuli were meticulously recorded. They were particularly interested in our capacity for abstract reasoning and emotional response. They seemed fascinated by our ability to form bonds without biological necessity. The entities had shown Daniel holographic representations of 12 other civilizations at various stages of development, some far more advanced than humanity, others less so. Earth isn't unique in developing intelligence, but our specific evolutionary path, particularly our balance of competition and cooperation, represents a statistical anomaly they're studying closely. Daniel confirmed that the entities were conducting long-term observational research on multiple civilizations. Earth is one of several developmental test cases they're monitoring. They're particularly interested in how we transition from a planetary to an interplanetary species, and whether we develop certain cognitive technologies before we destroy ourselves. The black disk at FBI headquarters was subjected to new analysis based on Daniel's guidance. This revealed that it functioned as part of a vast network of similar devices, all quantum entangled to form a cohesive monitoring system. The disk wasn't just collecting data, it was selectively sharing information about human technological capabilities with its creators. They're not hostile, Daniel insisted. They're curious. They've been studying multiple intelligent species for what we would consider millennia. We're one data point in a vast anthropological study. Within classified channels, debate rages about the appropriate response. Some officials advocate for disabling the monitoring network, while others argue that such attempts would be futile against technology so advanced. A third faction, led by scientists like Dr. Chambers, suggests establishing deliberate communication through the network itself, essentially acknowledging that we know we're being observed and are open to more direct exchange. Pentagon sources have confirmed the formation of a new interagency task force codenamed Looking Glass, specifically designed to develop protocols for potential future contact based on Daniel's insights. Meanwhile, 17 research facilities across North America have begun studying the quantum properties of the monitoring network in hopes of developing new technologies based on these advanced principles. The implications of Daniel's return and the confirmation of non-human intelligence monitoring human development continue to reverberate through classified channels. A new task force has been established to determine appropriate protocols for potential future contact, while the monitoring network remains active, silently observing our civilization's development. Thank you for following this extraordinary case. If you found this investigation into the truth behind the Roswell incidents and FBI agent Harmon's disappearance compelling, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. What do you think happened during Daniel Harmon's missing 12 years? Do you believe there are more monitoring devices than the government has acknowledged? Share your theories in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch our next investigation into the classified truths they don't want you to know.